Can my parents force a paternity test? I am not the original poster. Original post by you, paternity, throwaway 13 in our legal advice. Reminder: do not comment on linked posts. Trigger warnings. Mention of sexual assault. Less than. Mood spoilers. Tension. Resolution regarding paternity test. Less than. An NBSP. ### Can my parents force a paternity test? Fry. July 27, 2018. My wife was sexually assaulted. She got pregnant, and the baby could be mine or the rapist's. We decided to keep the baby and raise it as mine. We never want to have a paternity test done on the baby because this could be devastating to her. Relationship with my wife. I'm a massive moron. And after my daughter was born, I let slip to my parents that she might not be mine biologically. I tried to backtrack, but my parents kept pushing and pushing until my wife sat them down and explained the situation. They do not believe her. They think she cheated and that she is using me. Now my parents have approached me about taking a paternity test. They want me to contest paternity and leave my wife. I do not want to. I made a commitment to my wife and daughter and I stand by it. I trust my wife, but my parents don't. They told me that if I refuse, they will go to court and compel me to do a paternity test to absolve me of responsibility for the baby. They want me to leave my wife regardless. I am planning to cut contact with my parents over this. But is there any way that they can legitimately force me to do a paternity test? Is there something I can do to prevent this or fight them? We are located in Re. Notable comment. Gibraltar. They cannot compel a paternity test. It's probably wise to deny them any access to your daughter. They might try to swab her and have a test done. They wouldn't necessarily need a sample from you. They could test to see if she was genetically related to themselves. They probably wouldn't be able to take any legal action with the results. But it still seems like something you would prefer to prevent. Edited to add. You should be aware that if your daughter is not biologically related to you, she will likely discover it someday. With lots of genetic testing opportunities now available, it's not as possible as it once was to keep genetic consanguinity skeletons in the closet. If she's a baby now, it will be many years before this is likely to be an issue. And it won't change your legal paternity. But as she approaches adulthood, you and your wife should decide if you'd rather discuss it with your daughter or risk her finding out another way. Oop, this is scary. We will keep this in mind. An NBSP. #UPDATE. Can my parents force a paternity test? Sat. August 25, 2018. I'd like to take a minute to say thank you to everyone who responded to my last post. Your advice helped prepare me for what came next. Pretty soon after I posted, I received a letter in the mail from a lawyer that basically said that my parents were demanding a paternity test on the basis of grandparents' rights. I knew from my post that it was unlikely that a lawyer would take this case. So I googled the law firm and lawyer's name. I couldn't find the lawyer's name anywhere. But the law firm was real, so I reached out to them. The letter was fake and the law firm was not happy. They asked for the letter and are pursuing some sort of legal action against my parents. I don't know exactly what's happening as I have not been in contact with my parents in a while. In other news, my daughter was recently diagnosed with a very minor skin condition that is fairly uncommon and that I also have, which means she's most likely mine after all. We still won't be doing a paternity test anytime soon, but it was helpful for our peace of mind. Thanks again for the advice, everyone. An NBSP. This is a repost. You can find the original BORU here. Reminder: I am not the original poster. I keep seeing grandparent rights come up here, so I looked it up in my SAT and found this gem of advice. The easiest way to visit with your grandchild is to establish or maintain positive relations with the child's parents. However, no one that demands grandparent rights in a BORU post would think this way. It's been 5 years, I wonder how this all played out. Oop needs to DNA test himself, not the baby, because he doesn't seem to be anything like his awful parents. I think Opp handled this the best he could with his terrible parents. His only F-up is telling them in the first place. Remember kids, if they're trying to force grandparent rights, it's more likely that the grandparent wrongs. For the parents' sake and the child's sake, I do hope the father is biological father. It'll make their lives so much easier. Particularly the poor mother who was side benefit, if it becomes really obvious that the father is the biological father. I hope the grandparents get to live with knowing they blew up their relationship with their son and granddaughter. They can console themselves with the fact that they were only trying to protect their boy from a cheater. Hope they get everything they deserve when their sad, lonely holidays come around. Amazing that Opp is such a great parent when his own are quite the opposite. Oop is an amazing father. I'm sorry Oop's wife has had to cope with the pain of her rape and her beyond toxic in-laws. We invoke grandparents' rights to try to prove this is not our grandchild is quite a take. An attempt was made. Man, I cannot imagine the stress of this. Good for Oop for not wavering at all on his support of his wife. I know that if I were the wife, I would worry about not being believed. It will be a good idea to get testing done in the future for accurate medical history when she's older or if a more concerning medical issue comes up. But at the end of the day, genetics are secondary to him loving her and being there as her dad. I don't really understand the parents' endgame. Suppose they proved he was not the biological father. He sounded determined to remain with his wife and be a father to the child. The only reason to do a paternity test is for possible medical issues. I'm glad that Opp is such a great dad and has cut his parents out from his and his family's lives. I love the law firm taking action against the parents. Delicious. What was even their reasoning on this having to do with grandparent rights? We have a right to find out if we should disown our grandchild? I insist on having some kind of access to this child so that I can know whether to drop their ass immediately. Glad the skin condition is minor, and that it provided peace of mind regardless. Oop should go and see with his parents. They should never be allowed access to the child. We all know they will swab the girl. TBH. Oop and his wife should pick a new last name and change their names. Maybe the wife's original last name shows their utter rejection of his parents and their ideas. They will not be a part of the family, nor pass down even the name. Grandparents' rights are very hard to establish and must prove several things before a lawyer will even take the case. It's amazing how ignorant people are threatening lawsuits for every little thing without even trying to look it up. Like you have Google in your pocket, use it before you look like a fool or get sued for illegally using law office stationery. Oop was smart to Google the lawyer and law firm the letter came from. Everyone was right in saying no lawyer would take this case, because there is no case. I hope the whole family, parents and child, pursues long-term therapy. Because in this age of at-home DNA kits, their kid will likely have a few questions once they're older and they will have to confront the possibility again at some point. I know they're trying to lovingly navigate this the best way for mom's healing and baby's bond with her parents, but I don't think this is something that can stay hidden forever as kiddo grows up. I'm calling it now. The next post will be about how his parents either tried to or did a DNA test behind his back first chance they got when they had the kid over. He can never trust them again. This is not the first time I've read of someone forging a letter from a law firm. The law firm is never happy. It never works out well for the forger.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.